Navigating housing as a homeowner, a tenant, or a landlord can be hard. And that's why we're tackling today. Our guests today are Adolfo Brasino, a landlord-tenant mediation supervisor with the city of Winston-Salem, and Chantel McClam, who is a neighborhood services director also with the city of Winston-Salem. Thank you all so much for being here today. We have a lot of questions to get to. I know that you all have a lot of information to share, so we're looking forward to that. If you have questions, feel free to text them to us. The number is 336-379-5775. You can get them answered in real time anonymously. So let's start with Adolfo. Sir, can you tell me what is it that you do in your department to work with tenants, landlords, homeowners, that kind of stuff?
Sure. We have the Human Relations, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department has a landlord-tenant mediation program. The idea of the program is that landlords and tenants can resolve their issues so that they do not have to go to court.
Okay, very, very simple and easy. Chantel, would you do the same? What is it that the neighborhood services director does regarding people who live in your community?
So neighborhood code enforcement is actually one of the areas that report to neighborhood services. And so if homeowners and citizens are having issues as it relates to the property that they're living in, then they can contact us. If there are building enforcement issues, environmental issues, they can give us a call and we can assist with the process.
Adolfo, what would you say are maybe the top two landlord-tenant complaints that you help mediate?
Sure. The top two are requests for repairs and evictions. We sometimes overlap with the neighborhood services that they provide, because sometimes because of the issues or repairs that they have, tenants sometimes want to negotiate reductions in rent or not pay rent at all, or being released from their lease, and that is when we come in. The neighborhood conservation officers, they do not deal with that specific part of those repairs. So requests for repairs and evictions are our top two issues that we deal with in the department.
Something that I will probably mention a couple of times during this 30 minutes is that Into wants to know, we take voicemails from people all the time who are having issues. Typically it is with their landlords. They are tenants, and oftentimes it's about repairs. Why is it that so many tenants have issues getting things repaired through their landlord?
Is the question for me?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I'll have to speculate on this, but I imagine that sometimes landlords, for instance, will want to send a contractor to the house or the apartment complex. Sometimes landlords want to do it themselves. Sometimes contractors are not available immediately, and that's something that's very, very hard for tenants to understand. Sometimes if they're big companies, they may want to have several quotes from 3 different contractors, for instance, and that can also add to the time that landlords have to, put in before everything is complete. Those are some of the reasons. Sometimes, in general, larger companies will have a budget for repairs, but if we have a small landlord, probably they do not. Probably they just are taking the money out of the rent that is being paid by the tenant, and that can, if the landlord leaves out of the money paid by the tenants, that can also be a little bit more difficult. I mean, I think those would be my first reaction to your question.
And Chantel, do you have any additional insight on why that happens?
I would just say it's probably like what most companies are experiencing right now, just a lack of staffing, a lack of the ability to handle a lot of issues at one time. And so we find that some are trying to address the issues that tenants are calling in, but then some, like Adolfo said, that it's just a process. It's a process and it takes a little while to get to them. But when you're a tenant, you know, you want your issues addressed right away.
Chantel, when it comes to code enforcement, what would you say are the biggest things that you hear or the biggest things you deal with?
Well, we get a lot of calls, you know, when it comes to tenant landlord, there's a lot of calls regarding plumbing, you know, leaks, drainage, um, roof issues, also with leaks. HVAC is a big one, you know, heating and air conditioning issues. Flooring, you know, there could be damaged floors, which can pose a safety risk. And so we get calls regarding that as well.
We have a lot of questions, still have a lot of questions. We're doing this over 30 minutes. We are done with our first segment. We have 2 more to go. If you have any questions, you see the number there on the bottom of your screen, 336-379-5775. Let us know your questions and we will be right back.